Hello to my Pisces. Let's get it. Let's see what's in your cards. This reading is for April 16th through the 26th. Let's do it. Talking to you wherever Pisces is in your birth chart. Not just your sun sign, not just your moon, rising, or Venus. Wherever Pisces is in your birth chart. So I'm talking to my cross watchers as well. Find out what your sign is in your 12th house. Right? Find out what your sign is in your 12th house. Let's get into it. My community wants me to thrive. Right? So the opposite of thriving is die or shrivel up. Right? That's the opposite. So you're going to go where you are appreciated and not where you are tolerated. That is in every facet of your lives. The moment you are where you are just simply tolerated. That's in around people, places, or things. The moment you feel like you are just you're just tolerated in any facet. You don't just sit there going along with the flow, mirroring that energy. I'm just gonna sit here and stay. Nope. You move on. You move on. You move on. You move on. Know your worth and know your value. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. We have almost 9 billion people on the planet. You go where you are appreciated and not where you're tolerated. Water is shaped and guided by the earth that holds and surrounds it. And what's interesting about water, when we talk about auric layer, your aura is like an energetic calling card, because it's the first thing that people sense when they meet you. Like you say, there's something about them, like your aura, right? There's a lot of things you can do to cleanse your aura. Gemstones and crystals. You can do grounding, hug a tree. That's part of the grounding process. Cleanse your auric layer by being out in the sunlight. Obviously, Epsom salt baths, deep sea salt baths, a lot of things you can do to cleanse your auric layer, right? But your second auric layer is part of the physical realm, right? That's water, right? That is your emotional body, right? That's the emotional body. That's 2 to 3 inches off of your emotional body, right? And absorbing through this largest organ, your skin, right? It's shaped and guided by the people you're around. So you could be absorbing you could be mirroring other people's energy. So your sign is known for your compassion. But if you're around people who are not compassionate, you're around them long enough, you can literally be carrying their aura. So people can really mistake you for not being a compassionate energy based on the people that you're around. You can literally be mirroring other people's energy. So 227, befriend fear. You are stronger than your fears. Fear is not an indication of success or failure. It just exists within you. Your angel's message is this. As you manifest your goals and dreams, consider where fear creeps in and limits you. It's not going anywhere. So it's time to make friends with your fear. So reflect presently on how your fear could become a friend instead of a foe. 227. So for example, for people who are like entertainers, right? There's a very famous singer who's probably been in the business for, probably over 50 years. Said one time in an interview that how she channels her fear right before she goes on for a performance. As she channels it, she puts it into her performance. After all those years of performing, she still gets scared to perform. She doesn't know she can remember all the words to the song, and she's a dynamic. She's an icon. People consider her as an icon, but she channels that fear. Fear can save your life. It can save your life. It can tell you to get as far away from something fast, right? But some people look at it as a negative, but it can save your life. It can save your life. And people look at fear as people being weak, but it can save your life. So when you're in places where people are, when you're in a community of people who want you to thrive, not be in survival mode. They want you to thrive, not in survival mode. Take heed. Let's get into it. Let's go. All right. Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords. Yep. Yeah, you don't want to be in spaces. You don't want to destiny swap with people. You don't want to destiny swap, or you want to be around people who just want you to be in survival mode. They want you restricted. They want you to be, in dark energy mode. Always arguing. You don't know who you are. Just all this arguing back and forth. Yeah. You want to be around people who are just as compassionate as you are. Just as compassionate as you are. That is not a sign of weakness. That's what the world needs, compassion. So here's the Queen of Cups. Is the Devil card. The devil is in the details. Devil is in the details. Yep. Somebody may have grown up around someone who was just yelling in their face constantly, telling them that they not blankety blankety blank. Somebody may have grown up around all of that craziness, right? So you're trying to create something new. Trying to create something new. People don't need to be around. If you grew up around that mess and people say they love you, but all they did is cuss you out in your face all the time. Maybe you and somebody grew up around that. That's all y'all heard. Cussing out this blankety blankety blank. That's not thriving. It's a poisonous environment. All you heard. Time to move the water somewhere else. Take the water somewhere else. That is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. That's how you save yourself. That is how people save themselves. And when you hear people crying out for help, that is not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of strength. That is mirroring a sign of strength. Help me. Not toughen up time. Not a time of being judged. So, yeah. So judgment may be coming down on the flesh. Judgment is coming down on possibly the flesh in people. The devil is not another person. The devil is within us. That's the flesh. That is the carnal mind of feeling like we can't get beyond what we see when we look in the mirror, of just feeling like we can't do the mirror work ourselves. That's why it says befriending fear. Befriending fear, not being able to like what we see when we look in the mirror, or a person who can't be compassionate, so we just pour out, pouring out, right? Pouring out the judgment, right? So somebody's going to have this new sense of wealth, this new sense of worth. This is Eight of Pentacles, right? Right, so here we have the Knight of Swords here. So some kind of, somebody's trying to stay focused. Somebody is trying to stay focused. Somebody is trying to stay focused. Not running away from anything, but somebody is trying to stay focused. Somebody is trying to stay focused. Somebody is trying to stay focused. Because I feel like somebody has an innate spiritual understanding of something. But something, this is generational. The Judgment card is generational. So what this means is, like, what you have in common with somebody is, like, for instance, if you have been cussed out in your childhood and you see that, like you say you're on public transportation and you see a parent cussing their kids out, you can connect with that child, like what it does to a child. You constantly hear somebody being talked down to or cussed out or whatever the case may be. You know how what it does to them if they almost like just kind of stuck, like they just standing there like a statue. And you hear somebody saying, "I love you. I just want you to thrive. I just want you to be able to. I want you to be able to. I don't want you to be. They basically like pouring all of this into somebody. Basic. I'm just trying to trying to make logic, trying to make you see that it's hurtful, You know, they're basically trying to justify that craziness. Like I'm trying to. It don't even make any sense. It's a form of dark magic. To hurt somebody who you can see they just want to run, just come tearing out of a room in tears, and somebody's telling somebody they love them while they judging them at the same time, because they're basically pouring their demons onto somebody else. It don't even make any sense. I can't even justify it in the reading. It just don't even make any sense. And you're trying to be compassionate, just want to just pour compassion into something. It don't even make any sense. So you can see somebody wants to be saved. So somebody, it's just a poisonous environment. It's just a poisonous environment. Because I'm seeing bully. I'm seeing a bully here. And somebody's obsessed with demonizing, or somebody's obsessed with demonizing somebody behind their back, like assassinating somebody's character behind their back. And that's what you have in common. Like you're listening to something, like it's like you're hearing somebody being demonized behind their back, but it's like you've heard this before, right? You've heard this before. And somebody's saying they love somebody, but they demonizing somebody behind their back, and somebody just wants to be saved. So, and somebody's crying about it. Somebody's crying about it. Somebody's being a bully. And somebody is just determined. Yeah, somebody is just determined to keep some kind of divide going. So I don't know if you're witnessing this, Pisces, but this is something that you have in common with somebody. But this is generational. This is generational. Yeah. So somebody is moving. Somebody is moving. But somebody is tired of being bullied at this point. Somebody is doing the shadow work, and somebody is moving. Somebody's thinking about their future, but somebody is moving. Somebody trying to rise above the judgment. And so you're praying for someone's strength. It's like you're praying for two people's strength, like your strength and somebody else's strength. And somebody's praying for somebody's strength, but yeah. Something was created, something new was created just in form of compassion, but something is just too poisonous of an environment. Something is just too poisonous of an environment. Yeah. To help people to just move on from all the, to help people to move on from the, to help people to move on, just this smoother transition. Something about this reading, the energy is just like giving just wild. I mean, it's starting out with befriending fear of like, the number 2 gives peace, right? So 2 symbolizes peace, like the peace sign, right? It just symbolizes peace. It's like the peace, 2 people who have peace and then closing out a cycle. But wow. Something about this entire reading is just so freaking wild. It's just wild. Yeah, here's the Empress card. Just to grow abundance and prosperity. Somebody is moving. Somebody is moving. And it's a quick move too. This is a quick progression of something. It's like a quick move just to stay focused. Just to be able to just stay focused. So this is what you could have in common with somebody, is like either you and somebody are moving just to stay focused, like just to be able to stay focused. Like what the heck? Yeah, so money is coming across your path. Yeah, so I feel like you and somebody are relocating just to stay focused. Y'all are like planting seeds somewhere else just to stay focused. Just to be able to just, be in a more compassionate environment, just to But somebody is really, really a bully. Who the heck is this? Who is this? Bullies are cowards. Bullies are cowards. I mean, ain't no ifs or buts about it. Bullies are cowards. That's what they are. They're cowards. Yeah. But somebody doesn't even want to go back. You have an idea of who's behind the bullying, but you're not giving any energy to bullying energy. This is a karmic. These are karmics. These are karmics. Somebody who is like I said, obsessed. This is toxic masculinity. And it doesn't matter if it's a man or woman. When we talk about toxic masculinity, this is like somebody who almost has to like be in charge of something. Doesn't have the proper definition of divine masculine to divine feminine within one body. We all embody divine masculine to divine feminine energy. That's healthy. That's a healthy balance of divine masculine, because it's the divinity, it's source within each one of us. We all embody divine masculine to divine feminine. We're always in divine masculine and divine feminine. We're always in sending and receiving. We're always in sending and receiving mode. That's where you thrive. You send out a message. You want to be in a position to receive. You want to be in a position where you can actually receive a download. Right? You go out and work during the day. You want to be able to get some rest so that you can get some downloads. Okay? You want to be able to process your day. You need your rest so you can process. That's you're in receiving mode. Like, somebody was feeling like they had a weight of the world on their shoulder, and somebody was treating them like they weren't moving fast enough. They weren't processing fast enough. Things wasn't happening fast enough. So somebody is in very toxic masculine energy, just being bullied, like they just feel like their back was about to break. So somebody was definitely taking something else out on somebody. But I feel like if this is you, Pisces, somebody who wanted to take something else out on you was taking it out on somebody that they felt like was a weaker person. They didn't take it out on you directly, but they took it out on somebody who they felt like was weaker than you, and took it out on them. That's what this is. And they were they needed somebody to save them. So the way you're going to save them, like I said, is rising above that and helping them to do the mirror work. That's how you're staying focused. This is not even worth you doing anything to get yourself restricted. That's what you have in common. Like you're intelligent enough, because somebody is definitely trying to push your buttons to get you restricted in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Stay focused. That's why I talk high vibrational so much on my channel, because people definitely try to get people to get people's buttons pushed to get people restricted, because misery loves company. That's what this is. Misery loves company. Source is saying to you, you're going to help somebody do the mirror work so that you can like I said, you're taking a page out of someone's book that and that this is a loved one of yours, whether you talk to them or not. You're taking a page out of a loved one's book so that you can help somebody transition. You can help somebody to transition. That's how you befriend fear, because it's not going to help you to add to someone else's pain if you can't be there to help somebody by being compassionate. That's why somebody was feeling like they got the weight of the world on their shoulder, because they feel like, okay, somebody's a hothead. This is what somebody was feeling like the weight of the world on their shoulder, because they feel like something. If somebody says something to you as a water sign, if they feel like they had to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders, they said something to you as a water sign, you was gonna go from 0 to 1,000. Right? So they took all of that weight on themselves. Because they feel like if they told you was going to go from 0 to 1,000, so they just took the weight themselves. The weight of the world on their shoulders themselves. And so Source is like, for you, you are going to teach them how to do mirror work. That is the beauty of talking to loved ones who have gone through the same things that you could be listening to or witnessing, to say, hey, that's the beauty of staying connected to high vibrational energies. It's like, you know what, it's don't even vibrate on a low frequency of other people who are compassionate. Befriend fear. That's the beauty of talking to people who are at peace with closing out cycles in love and moving on. When somebody needs some help with some stuff, when you're dealing with that, but when it's a bunch of chaos and confusion around misery that loves company, hey, make peace with people and say, you know what, take the high road, get as far away from these miserable bullies and move on. Yep, and don't look back. Because this is a thrill that these energies love to do. They like to bully people, and then they bully people, and then when you come back at them, then all of a sudden they, child. Anyway, everybody know the story of bullies. Yep, here's the death card. They like to keep people in a karmic cycle with them. They love attention. I mean, and they make everything about them. They love attention. They like to keep people in a karmic cycle with them. They start something. They like to throw their rocks and hide their hands and keep people in a karmic cycle with them. So it's like, listen, don't even, They're a whole hot mess. A whole hot mess. And swear up and down people are running away from something. Anybody running away from nothing. So it's like they love to try to blindside people. Yeah, creating confusion. They love to create confusion. Stay away from miserable energies. Stay away from them. Teach you, your kids, your friends, stay away from miserable energies. They are narcissistic. They love, I can't even reiterate it. They love chaos and confusion. They love it. I mean, like they literally can't breathe without it. They love trying to sue people. I mean, love going to court. They dress up and go to court like they going to an event. They looking for this. Oh, child. Limitations. Let go of your worries. People need to get together and school people on these type of energies. Stay away from them. Stay away from them. Think about your future. So if somebody has that in common with loved ones, when you're talking to these type of energies, this is generational for some people. I'm telling y'all, it's generational. It's like this is their demons. They love to, be disrespectful to people, talk to people, talk down to people, and then when you come back at them, and all of a sudden they play victim. So it's like, stay away from these energies. Stay away from this. I'm telling y'all got loved ones who've had to deal with these energies, but y'all are not talking to the loved ones. So pursue happiness. Never apologize for what brings you joy. Only you understand where you truly belong and where you can find your safe space. Follow your bliss. Spend some time talking to your loved ones. You don't want to have kids with these people. None of them. This is a completely unequally yoked union. Completely. You don't want to befriend these energies. None of them. This is completely unequally yoked in friendships, love, everything. Not on the same frequency. Befriend fear. When you're listening to certain people and they bragging about this kind of stuff, so say get up and walk away. Get up and walk away. Nothing about this is cute. That is not love. That's not a love language. That's not a love language. Get up and walk away. There it is, that person on a boat and they sailing away. Get yourself away from that. That is not a love language. Get up and sail away. That's why this thing right here says befriend fear. These energies love to try to ruin people's lives. That's their goal, is to ruin people's lives. And they clap and cheer. They love this. Like they just wake up to do it. Yeah, the Empress card. Their lives and people's kids' lives. They like literally like ruining people's legacies. I never seen anything like it. And I'm learning when I talk to my clients. Like I talk to my clients, I'm telling y'all, yeah. So if you're a reader, take a minute to read some of the comments. I'm telling y'all, obedience is better than sacrifice. Some people don't want to close out a cycle when Source says close out a cycle and quietly move on with your life. Quietly just move on with your life, right? When Source says close out a cycle, quietly move on with your life, obedience is better than sacrifice. It's that curiosity of going back. Move on. Quietly move on. Let Source handle whatever. Let Source handle it. If you are a reader, go and read some of the comments. Some people do not move on. They stay in it and get angrier and angrier and angrier to a point of obsession. To a point of obsession. And you always see exactly what I'm talking about. Some people will put it in print. They will write it. They will write it out. They could not move on with their lives until after a person is dead, for real. They will say that in print. I'm like, oh my God. Like, wow. You held on that long? Jeez, okay. When really, you can close out a cycle and just say, okay, let me close out a cycle. Out of sight, out of mind. I need to move on with my life. I'll never talk to that energy again. Let me just move on with my life. Let me move on with my life. I detach from everybody that's connected to that. I don't want to live that nightmare. Let me move on. But yeah. Not judging, but you got to do what you need to do so you can live a peaceful life and literally move on from that. But yeah, you're planning a vacation. You're trying to move on. You're trying to live your absolute best life. You don't want to be bullied by energies. But when you're closing out cycles, learn how to close out cycles in love. Source is saying to you, when you're seeing people, talk to loved ones in a very hurtful way, Source is saying to you, if you can, as the sign is known for compassion, if you can show some compassion towards them, please show compassion, because you just don't know what breaking point people are. You just don't know where they are at a breaking point, for real. Here's guidance. When you make divine intelligence your foundation, you finally have a fixed star to follow. You just don't know where people are on their journey. You just don't know. You don't know where people are in their journey. And some people get too much of a thrill out of breaking people. So that is what I have for you. So when you say my community wants me to thrive, Source wants you to just really be an example. Just be an example. And I'm talking to you wherever Pisces is in your birth chart, not just your sun, moon, or rising. Wherever it is in your birth chart. That is what I have for you. Hopefully this has been helpful. But I definitely see you moving and planting some seeds somewhere else, away from these energies who say they love people but steadily just hurting people. Like I said. And it's like I said, whoever these two energies are, let me see. Yeah, 1, 2, yeah. I see you just kind of, like I said, transitioning, moving on, just moving on. All right, bye.